And it's 35 minutes after 6. It's an old ladies affair right now. We've asked Roland to take a break. Good morning, Benis.
Good morning, Mama B. How are you?
I am good. You're kind of like, you decided to expand Roland's color of socks into a beautiful dress this morning.
Sure I did.
You look good.
Sure I did, yeah. Someone says purple is the color.
It's purple orange.
Purple orange, yeah.
We're coming to do the newspapers next, but there was a research. The full story you can find on myjoyonline.com. Here's a little catch of the research, a recent research conducted, which says that children who frequently break the rules or otherwise defy their parents often go on to become educational overachievers and high-earning adults.
Wow.
Yeah. Like when your children are so stubborn now, they are the ones who become somebody, like they say, in the future. But how true is this?
Well, how true is it? And well, does it work in our context in Ghana? We may have to find out what it is, you know, what our story here is really. But
exactly.
I'm not sure a lot of parents would be enthused to hear this. What it may mean is also that you may have to endure a stubborn child if you want a successful adult in that child.
That's the other.
Yes.
But the good side, Benis, I'm thinking is this. It means that if you have a very stubborn child who is not listening, who is not doing anything, at least you know that the future is bright.
But is it always the story?
I don't think so.
Well,
I don't think so.
I'm sure we'll explore this.
Yeah, we will
more.
definitely. We're going to activate the phone lines when we're discussing this. But as a gentleman those who probably knew him very, very well when he was very young would say, Charlie, this guy, he was a very bad boy. You won't believe how he's turned out. So he's going to help us with this conversation. It's going to be very practical. And then, you know, he would give us a few tips that can help parents as well, which is very important. We've got a counselor also joining us. Mr. George Ansan will also be here on this particular conversation. And then we'll touch base with the campaign trail. Richard Kwejo is on standby. We know that Danado Dankwe Kufuado has been in the central region. And then we'll speak to our colleague Kofi Sian, who's also following through with President John Dramani Mahama's campaign. All right, Benis, let's start with the Times.
All right, on the front page of the Ghanaian Times, President inaugurates ICT hub in Accra. And we know yesterday he did a number of commissions. And the EC demands judges' removal. And it has to do with that particular issue with the PPP. And they're saying that the High Court judge who sat on that case cannot sit on the case at the Supreme Court as well. So they want him removed from the panel. And 108 Ghanaians deported from U.S.
Charlie. If you have a relative who's been in the U.S.
for a long time, please call and check up on them. You know, and I hear a couple of them cannot even come back to Ghana, and they've been away for a long time because if they come, there's no way they can go back. You know, so I know a young lady who hasn't seen her mother since she was about 3. And her mother is in the U.S. just trying to get papers. For how long? You know, but well, let's check the back page of the Ghanaian Times. GHS confirms outbreak of cholera in the central region and national land use policy advocated. And let me just take a bit of that particular story on national land use policy. The Ministry of Food and Agriculture is worried about the practice where lands earmarked for agriculture purposes are being turned into real estate development. According to the ministry, the situation makes it difficult for farmers to have access to lands, which could lead to food shortage and increase in prices of foodstuffs. So the director of Agric Business Unit at the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, Mr. Nicholas Nikwe, expressed this sentiment in an interview with the Ghanaian Times and, well, on the sidelines of a day's workshop in Accra. So we are trading all our farmlands for real estate development. Center spread. Government opens landmark ICT hubs at Accra Digital Center. That's a photo of President John Dramani Mahama. And, well, he's with one of them facilitators at the Digital Center. And the EC wants judge in Nana Kunedu's case replaced. Okay, so it's actually Nana Kunedu's case, but there's a one with the PPP case. It says the Council for the Electoral Commission yesterday filed a motion at the Accra High Court demanding that Justice Eric Chepa, for yes, is that particular case, I beg your pardon, hearing the case involving them, and the National Democratic Party recused himself. According to the counsel, Mr. Thaddeus Sori, the same judge heard Dr. Papa Kwesi Indum's case and ordered the commission to afford him an opportunity to amend his nomination form. So they don't want that same judge there. He sat on the Indum case. They don't want him to sit on Nana Akunedu's case as well. So, well, Indum's case fixed for tomorrow. I'm sure that'll be it for the Ghanaian Times.
All right, let's do the Daily Graphic newspaper. Essentially, some of the stories in the Times, also in the Graphic this morning. Ghana will leverage ICT for sustainable jobs, enhance livelihoods, President declares at inauguration of data center. Also, court dismisses PPP over filing fees. 108 Ghanaians, librarians deported from US. Back page of the Graphic, Indum inaugurates refurbished rice mills at Rara. And this is it, man. The man is a Jumara and he's proving it. But let's read a bit of some of the stories, and we'll start with page 16 in the Graphic. So this issue about Ghanaians and Liberians being deported, it was like dramatic at the airport. There was a stand of the paper reports between 108 Ghanaians, Liberians, and other officials of the United States of America at the Kotoka International Airport after the Ghanaians and the Liberians had been deported from the U.S. to Ghana yesterday. So after the deportees had arrived at the KIA at 10 a.m. on a chartered flight, they refused to disembark and accused the U.S. officials of manhandling them. The deportees, some of whom were said to have served various jail terms for drug-related offenses, demanded that they be sent back to the U.S. Others were deported for staying illegally, overstaying their permits, and other crimes. But essentially,
but I'm wondering why
the
Liberians were brought to Ghana.
To Ghana, yeah, that was also the thing I was
maybe I'm
asking.
sure it's, I don't know if the plan is to take them by road to Liberia. I don't know, but that will be. Why are they in Ghana? Maybe
it's true. Good question.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so you know they're back home. Oh, Charlie. All right, this issue about court dismissing PPP over filing fees. I think there was also a story somewhere that, okay, I'm sure we'll get to it, that some people use fake statements to get visas. Something of the sort is in one of the papers.
It's here. 20 apply for visa with fake bank statements. Sorry, I missed it.
If you do that, they will refuse you the visa. So a high court in Accra yesterday dismissed the suits filed by the Progressive People's Party challenging the filing fees set by the Electoral Commission for the December 7 presidential and parliamentary elections. So that issue has also been dealt with. Hopefully there won't be another court's issue on this one. So filing fees settled. The EC has every right to charge the amounts that they're charging this time around. Okay.
Wow. So this issue about 20 arrested in visa deal, apparently they contracted the services of middlemen in their activities. You know some of these things. Oh, we'll get you a bank statement. And then it actually, they were arrested when they submitted some of these documents at the German embassy.
But you know, we take a lot of risk.
I know, just to get out of this country.
We take so much risk.
And I know people who actually, so what they do is, okay, they know they're traveling in a year's time, so over time, they speak to someone who has money to be doing transfer of funds into their account.
Okay.
So by the time they're ready to go, the account looks good. And that's what people
do. But that's better. That's better. You can even get somebody to fund your travel.
Sure.
So they back you with their document. That's better. That's legal.
Than giving fake documents.
Because, you know, I had the opportunity to have a conversation with the director of passports. And it's terrible. You can go through the process yourself. You can, and you can track your passports. I'm hoping that we can have a lengthy conversation on this, because we hear stories. Sometimes it delays.
Yes.
My own passport delayed, but you can always make a follow-up. They've got these numbers that you can call and check if your passport is ready. And it works. Wow. It works, because I went through the process like any other person would go through the process, and eventually I got it. But there are people who will still go through the middlemen. And the middlemen fill your forms with anything. I mean, they can put anything in there, and it's in your name.
You know, and the unfortunate situation is that sometimes when things like this happen, you can't even trace them. So they are gone. And so you are held, you know, responsible for that. But on the front page of the Daily Guide, NDC begs Volta for votes, Woyame free cash causes anger. And well, the Daily Guide captures some interesting photos of U.S. deportees in chains. So they were actually handcuffed.
Oh.
That's an embarrassing way to come back into your country.
But I'm thinking that because some of them were resisting, I'm just thinking, I don't know if this is what happened. I have a feeling, because if you read the story, it said that they had quite a bit of a challenge trying to get them to come down from the plane. But this is what I'm thinking. If you sat in a plane from US to Ghana,
but you see, then they can't fight, because I'm imagining the structures and the kind of things they had to go through just to even get them into the plane.
It's true.
They're really being strict on some of these things lately.
Surely.
But on page 2 of the Daily Guide, EC is being manipulated. That's according to Papakosi Indum. And well, he's saying that the case involving his disqualification from taking part in the December 7 presidential race is a deliberate plan. Well, the paper quotes him as saying it's a deliberate ploy. It's a deliberate ploy from different quarters, whether it's state-sponsored organizations or political parties. I can't say. Well, but he thinks that the EC is being manipulated. And JB killers to be charged. You know, this morning when I was coming to work, I went by his neighborhood, and I was asking myself what's happened to that particular case. So it says that state prosecutors are to formally charge the 2 persons being held over the murder of Joseph Boachi Dankweju, the New Patriotic Party Member of Parliament for Buakwa North in the Eastern Region. According to the prosecutor, Superintendent Ba, the prosecution was awaiting the Attorney General's advice on the docket. The accused persons are Daniel Esiedu, aka Sexy Dondon, 19, he's 19, and Vincent Bosu, aka Junior Agogo. Now, at the court sitting yesterday, Daniel Esiedu told the court that he was sick. He had a boil in his ear. Well, but basically what the story is saying is that these killers are going to be formally charged.
Hasn't this taken a bit long?
It has.
Wow.
It has. But British Empire honors Denta. Okay. Chief Executive Officer of Guba Enterprise, Denta Amwating, has been officially appointed member of the Most Excellent Order of the British Empire.
Yeah, it was announced a while ago, so it's officially been done. Congratulations to her. I mean, she's very forceful. Very forceful.
Mama V, this is an interesting one, and I'm sure we'll get a lot of people talking. Poverty, not another name for holiness. That's according to Ceci Chum.
I agree with her,
you
absolutely.
know, and the church has been struggling with this thing. And I remember in a series that Dr. Otobo preached, he says, to be or not to be. That's the struggle of many Christians. Should I be rich? Should I go for the money?
Shall I be rich? Go for it. Go
Should
for
I
it.
go for the money? Well, it says give musicians equal opportunity. That's according to Afezi Perry. But this will be an interesting read. You should get the copy of the Daily Guide today.
The fact that you're Christian, or you know, you're a pastor, or you hold a certain position in the church doesn't mean you should go around looking more like.
Well, that's how it's been for a very long time.
Chill. If you have the money, if you're privileged to have the money, if you work hard for the money and you get it, whether you're Christian, okay, we're talking about Christianity, we're talking about Christians, if you're Christian, like chill in it. Let people see that you've been blessed and bless others with what you have. And you never know, you keep winning souls for Christ.
Mommy says you should chill. Okay, what do you have, Mommy?
I've got the Daily Dispatch newspaper. The results of some kind of poll, and it says Esla Zanato ni Lante to win Katie out, and that's Katie Hammond, the Member of Parliament for Asokwa. So you can read the details on as to how they arrived at these conclusions.
The NDC say they are waiting for him to be out. Katie Hammond.
Okay. He will disagree totally. But that's it for the Daily Dispatch.
All right, at front page of the BNFT, MFI's Advocate Development Fund to help attract cheaper capital, exciting minerals production outlook predicted as proceeds from gold surged to 1.9 billion US dollars. On the back page, leadership must be everybody's business. That's according to Reverend Eric Kopong. And Odotobri Rural Bank supports Farmers' Day celebrations in 10 districts, and TV3 unveils ultra-modern news studio. So that's it for the BNFT.
All right, the Business Finder front page starts a new business in Ghana is hell. Ghana drops 8 places in ranking. Firms still post huge losses and non-performing loans suffocating banks. Okay, that's it for the Business Finder newspaper in terms of the headlines on the front page of the story. We're going to turn our attention quickly to myjoyonline.com. Asantehene chastises chiefs for amassing wealth from land sales.
He's been quite vocal lately.
Yeah, he has. We're 100% sure of Togolese on the electoral roll. That's according to the NPP. You know, they've launched, is it Eagle Eye?
Operation Eagle Eye. Yes, and banks reducing interest on deposits. That's according to a Bank of Ghana report. We brought you that story earlier on some newspapers. Mahama opens digital center, promises 10,000 jobs for ICT youth. Jobs. Now check your promises, lifestyle, retiring MPs told. You know, there was that issue about how they struggle when they're no longer in Parliament, and one of them, yes.
I don't know. Listen, I respectfully, because I know that I have quite a good number of friends. Hopefully we're friends, not political friends in Parliament. I totally disagree, man. If you earn like 7,500, you get a loan to buy a 4-wheel drive. I mean, you can buy a smaller car. You can buy whatever. I mean, when you're done with 7, you can change the big car to a smaller car or something. And like live within your means.
And that's the argument. That a lot of them cannot come down to a certain level because of where they've projected themselves to be.
You should.
No, but Mamavi, that's it. You should. But some people can't.
No, if you can't, then it's your own wahala. You should. And you should have a job because, listen, you are not just sitting there and became a member of Parliament. You are doing something.
Yes.
Some of them are lawyers. They've got chambers. They have other people who are running the businesses. I mean, you should comfortably retire to what you were doing before.
So if someone was a teacher and maybe earning 1,000, you should be able to go.
No, you should be able. Listen, that's why, as you're in Parliament, you should also not just be sitting there. You should be upgrading yourself in terms of education
and thinking about an exit plan.
Exactly.
I think that's what catches a lot of them by surprise.
So you can go back to the classroom, but maybe not to the secondary school, to the university, where you are like a part-time lecturer or something. I mean, you should have a plan.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Interesting conversation. But AG called by YMS threats over 51 million cedis. And well, there's more on myjoyonline.com.
Okay. AG can't be trusted to retrieve Oyome cash. Kesley Hayford saying there. So a lot of fallouts.
And then Amaliba is saying AG committed to retrieving YMS 51 million Ghana cedis.
Yeah, so I think he said he had some insider information yesterday when I was listening to him.
All right, okay. So CTFM and NPP threatened street protests, and NLC orders psychiatric nurses to return to work. And we'll change you, Nanado to Mahama. And Peki Chief will endorse Nanado to be, there's more to that, the next story, please. To be sanctioned. Okay. Well, let's see how it gets.
All right. Let's touch on the Africa page of the BBC quickly. We've got sports coming up next with Akwesi Dankwa, a.k.a. Benedict Owusu.
All right. Zuma report notes possible corruption.
Yeah, there were some demonstrations in Pretoria yesterday, widely reported by the international media. So a probe finds evidence of possible corruption at the top level of South Africa's government. Jacob Zuma, Brett.
They're calling him to resign, calling for his resignation, but he doesn't seem to, be interested. Kenya fury at UN general's sacking. Kenya condemns the sacking of the South Sudan UN force head and says it will withdraw its troops. And Africa highlights bag of cash offered in South Africa, bribe funeral for ex-BBC reporter, and a Gambia leader silencing critics Burundi cyclists to pay for parking. Interesting. Landslide for new Ivory Coast constitution.
All right, now you know what's making headlines. If you're interested in any of the stories that we've reviewed so far online, just log on to the website. Foremost, in fact, where you can trust the most will be myjoyonline.com. So just go to the website and click on the stories and read the details. With the newspapers, I always encourage you, go to the newsstands and go and grab the newspapers after you've heard the headlines and read the details of the stories. Let the newspapers also make some small money.
Yeah,
you know?
sure. Yeah,
and stay in business.
They need it.
Thank you, Bernice, for doing this with
Pleasure,
me.
Mama.
Stay with me throughout the day. What do you say?
I will.
Okay, cool. So Bernice is here with me throughout the day here on the AM show. Let's hear your comments. Send us your comments about the stories that you've heard and the conversations that we're going to have ahead. There's a research that has said that children who have been stubborn, grow up to be the ones who are higher achievers. How true is that? Do you have a personal experience? Do you find what's the word? Is it faith in this story because you've got children who just won't listen to you, but you know that someday will be better than today? Send us your comments. 0560, 0560 800,000. That's the WhatsApp number to get in touch with us. After sports, we will come and deal with other matters. We'll touch base. What's happening with the psychiatric nurses who have decided to strike? Now we hear the NSC is asking them to go back to work. So what will happen? How about the patients that they're asking to go home? And then we'll also touch base with the campaign trail. We've got some 33, is it?
Yes, 33 days. Yeah. 5 weeks to be precise.
And this week is almost gone.
This week is almost gone. So we have just about a month.
That's scary.
Yes, it is. So are we prepared?
With all the court cases, we'll see what happens on the campaign trail. But first, we want to make way for Akwesi Dankwa, who's got sports right here on the AM show.